would you suck a dick a week for $100,000 a year? I said yes. No, no question about it.
100,000 a year is definitely not enough.
It's not enough for you to suck. That's only 52 dick sucks. You get basically $2,000 a week.
But you just the repeatedness of it, dude. Like if I was a woman or if I was gay, I'm all in. I dread going to work now. Imagine if that was your job and you got to go to work next week.
Dude, I would bang it out. I would just be like, all right, let me try and get like 10 done a day. I would just up front do a week of work, suck 52 dicks in a week, and have 51 weeks where I get $100K to do whatever I want. I'm not swallowing, though.
What up, comic book players? They call me a pimp named Slaughter, and I just wanted to give you the heads up that you don't want to miss out on Izzyverse NYC on YouTube today at 4:30 Eastern Time. Otherwise, you might find yourself a sucker like the comic vet who missed out on something's killing the children swag. To me, the pimp named Slaughter came through big, and we came out with the victory. Check it out.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Foil.
Man. Something's killing the children 30.
Where's Marcus now?
Yeah, this is the big.
I bet it looks even better in person.
Yeah, it's freaking insane. The rain almost looks like 3-dimensional on it when you're looking at it in person. It's freaking crazy.
There he is.
We'll let you win it as long as you don't dance with it naked.
DJ said, put up the Something is Killing the Children so we can watch Marcus and E-Man duke it out.
He said auction it off before Chris the comic vet gets here. He doesn't want Chris to be here.
Yeah, somebody call Chris. 5.
It was signed March 30th, 2023.
225.
We got Marcus in at 225.
You might as well turn
Links
the
is
timer
ringing
off.
the pedal and
No, 230. We got 230 now. We got 230.
Fight.
This one said 5 seconds. Get your bid in. There's no sniping. We will now. Okay, that's it. So now,
E-Man and Marcus, I'll just go
until somebody taps out.
E-Man folks, congratulations.
Congratulations, Marcus.
Thank you, E-Man and Marcus, both for the fight. Marcus, you know what to do.
Comic vet just got here.
Great kid.
You just missed out on this.
He wanted to get it before you saw it was up for sale.
Yeah, he really did.
It's coming back at you. A pimp was watching some YouTube last night, watching one of my favorite channels, Reggie Collects, talking about new comic book day and some controversy. A pimp named Slaughter loves some controversy, and we got some controversy today for you because jealousy reared its ugly head here today on Reggie Collects. Here, check it out.
I've never actually said anything stupid. Don't ask my wife, brother. Let's talk about that S curl wig that you had on, where you were calling all the pimps and the players to support C3. Let's talk about that. You may not have said anything stupid, sir, but we got to talk about that wig. Scrolling through some of the comments here. See, let me. Wait, brother, you saw that wig. You saw that wig the same way that I saw that wig, and I watched it. I watched it a couple of times because it was hilarious.
You hate to see your comic book players and playettes. This man with his shiny bald head can't stand to see a pimp with some beautiful locks. Let him know. This type of hating can't be accepted in the comic book community.
Next question comes from Phil. He wants to know, leftover ham and pineapple pizza for breakfast? Yes or no?
No, I don't do pineapple on pizza, bro. It's an abomination. I'll eat the ham, but yeah, pineapple on pizza is an abomination. You should be arrested for that. Like I'm a bygones be bygones. Like if you're a dude and you like other dudes, it doesn't hurt me at all. You know, why would I care? And the same thing is true as like if you eat a pineapple pizza, why do I care? But I care. I do fucking care. I don't want you to do it. It's wrong.
So it's like do it in private and don't tell me.
It upsets me. Yeah, I'm one of those people who's like, it's not okay for you to live your life the way I don't like. It's not. I don't know why I'm like. I'm not kidding either. It bothers me. I can't even explain it, but it does. Like, why would you do that? It's like
It's like, well, I never.
like there was that scene in the latest season of Stranger Things where they were like, "Oh, pineapple on a pizza. This is good." I was like, "Click. I'm not watching this show anymore."
It's like you're dead to me now, Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's that kind of propaganda is not going to be accepted.
All right. We'll move away from the pineapple talk and go on to
Haters gonna hate, 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 hate.
Butts.
What up? What up? What up? It is Tuesday once again, and we are back for another FOC and chill. What up to all the homies already in the chat? I'm gonna get right into the chat because I don't have anything to plug right now. I had a good time over with TM Nerdy and Geek Out with Roscoe last night over on TM Nerdy's channel. We did Between the Lines, and even though I have no artistic talent, they were nice to me. And they let me be the center of attention for a while. So that was fun. Check that out. Support those guys if you get some time because they're great, great members of this community pushing out fun content. I loved Between the Lines. And the theme last night was Dad Bod Superheroes, and there was some killer art that everybody threw in. Especially Geek Out with Roscoe had a great Wolverine dad bod, which I absolutely love. So we've got a Beckerman appearance. He was here for the very first FOC and chill, but he's not often here since then. But it's good to see.
Who could ever make it on waiting for that freaking intro?
Oh, come
you
on!
Once gave me a hard time about the Hucklebucks intro being like 20 seconds. Your intro takes a month of Sundays.
That's different though, because your intro is
it's you. I get it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours again? I always do that with you. Golly.
Well,
what is
sometimes you got to figure out who's the reacher and who's the settler. Which way does the favor go, buddy?
Okay. All right. Well, the difference is yours is all look at my fancy logo and these fancy editing tricks that I did, whereas mine say, look at this funny shit that I did before. I think it's funny. Well, you guys might think it's funny. Check it out. Come on. I'm funny, Becker. I don't care what you say. I don't understand why you don't support me more. Let's get to this chat. What's up, Las Cruces? My man, always first one in here, and I really appreciate you, man. New Mexico is in the building. Good to see you, my man. We got Phil's Treehouse, who asked me that question about pineapple on pizza. And I knew that, pineapple on pizza is the easy money argument, right? One of those things that everybody has fun arguing about. So I knew when we got there that was something I was going to be able to use because that's a good way to get engagement. So thank you for that question, Phil. Thank you for all the questions. Thank to everybody who was there last night for Between the Lines. I really appreciated it, and I appreciated all the questions. And I really appreciate everybody listening to me talk because everyone should do more of that, especially Becker. You should listen to me talk more often. How'd you like that message I sent you today? Did you like that? I knew you would.
Didn't surprise me.
I knew you would. How you been, man? What's up with you? How was the auction tonight?
Oh, good. They moved some art. I just filmed a couple of Beckerman solo episodes for Alan. He's on hiatus for a minute while he takes care of some things. So I unpacked some boxes and went through some stuff. So now I'm like surrounded by boxes. So I need to clean up.
It's funny. You're walking in the sand, and Alan looked back and he saw there was only one set of tracks.
That's like my favorite joke, too.
I know it is. You've been carrying that channel from time to time. Thank God Alan's got you. And I love the Hucklebuck. If you guys are not plugged into the Comic Viking, Alan Rue, it's always a good time. It's always interesting to see what they got. And they don't waste your time. They get right to it. And I like that. I appreciate that. They're about their business. So definitely check them out, man. Good stuff. What else is going on with you? Are you
Got a
going? Are you ready for
Liefeld-
Planet?
A Liefeld sketch.
Uh-oh. Comic Journey will be pumped.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Well,
There we go. There we go.
all that Rob goodness.
Did you get that off Whatnot?
I did.
It's funny how distinctive his stuff is. You can really tell. We got Ben Compton, Virginia's in the building. What's up, Ben? Good to see you, my man. Fatty Boom Batty John Stout is here. Good to see you. He was there last night. Appreciate you coming through last night, asking some questions. Very cool of you. Instead of membership, you should get extra content for showing up early. I don't, well, according to Beckerman, nobody wants extra content from me. I love the butts that video. That's fun. I was thinking about remaking it, actually. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe putting some different graphics in there, maybe cleaning it up. Because I made that video. I made that video early in my editing learning process, so I can do it a little better than I did it there, I feel like. So maybe we'll redo it. That'd be fun. That's always a fun one. People love that one. The Dad Bod Revolution will be televised. I don't know if you saw I shared it. The game Sunday night, which, whoa, what a great game. Huh? How about those Chiefs? But at the game, Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's brother, was in the press box with no shirt on and just representing the Dad Bod Revolution. And yes, the Dad Bod Revolution is and will be televised. What up, DVH, Dr. Von Hoot in the house? There's been rumblings, some rumors that maybe DVH will be joining the Dad Bod Revolution cause. Entirely started by me, but they're out there. Definitely out there. We got Beckerman here, FOC, and for the link. Wow, you even asked for the link. That's a first. Eli, what's up, Eli? Thanks for coming through. Uh-oh. He used to be a regular, but I've been missing him. What up, Evil Mike? I've been missing you, brother. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
What's up, Marcus? What's up, Mike?
How have you been? What's up with Colorado?
It's been frosty over here, you know. It's been lately it hadn't been that bad, but we everybody got that polar vortex. And we got like 2 feet of snow over here.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I'm ready for the spring. I'm ready to get my kids out to the park again and back to the pool. I mean, I've been really missing that stuff, especially with all this weather. And I'm not built for these cold environments. I'm more suited for tropical environments. Like Frog Baller out there in Florida. What's up, Frog Baller? Thanks for coming through. Good to see you. Caroline, Lady F is in the building. I started with the Lady F clip. I love that clip. I was talking about sucking a dick. Always fun. Appreciate you coming through tonight. Well boar in the hizzy. Not a boar, not a pig, not a well-meaning pig. But that is an oil rig reference. And I always want to point that out because I went the longest time not knowing that. Yeah, I didn't know it for the longest time. I just thought he was a pig doing well, you know. Just
I have something to play for you real quick, Marcus. This is also Liefeld's Whatnot.
Hey Beckerman, we are the same. We are the same. Just telling you.
And why was he saying that for?
What's that relations to?
Just our grumpy old man views on comic books. Bring it back to the 90s, baby.
The elitists. Okay. Rob seems fun.
What would you bring back from the 90s that isn't here now?
I mean,
we got gimmicks. We got foil. Do
we have new warriors?
I heard there's something, there's like Night Thrasher.
Yeah, and he wants to leave the 90s behind. Why would you do that?
I mean, he's still doing big pockets and pouches, and he has.
Who wants to leave the 90s behind? Who does?
The 90s are. I don't want to be.
The 90s.
I don't want to be stuck. Why? You want to be that generation that sounds like the past generations where they were like, the only good music was.
I'm just having fun with it, but
yeah, me too. I'm playing.
But legit about the 90s, there's a lot of like false information out there, and I hear it from educated people. Like the 90s were this failure that did too much chrome and too much this, and they didn't sell, and Marvel went bankrupt. Okay, first of all,
I didn't
Marvel
see it.
Comics never went bankrupt, so
I
that's
didn't
a
see
false
it.
narrative. The company that owned them went bankrupt, and that's the difference. The idiot who owned Revlon bought 16 companies, like boom, 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 got overextended, got underwater, and he filed for bankruptcy, which caused Marvel to be in arrears. But it wasn't because they weren't selling comic books. It's because the Revlon guy was an idiot.
I mean, you're talking, okay, like fact, right? We're just facts, right? We're talking about how many copies did Spawn sell when it released, and when did it release? So, I mean, when was this comic book bubble pop failure thing? I mean, how many issues of Death of Superman? I mean, we're talking about some of the greatest sales of comic book history came from what era? Huh? I'm just saying. I mean,
I do agree with Phil, though. LCS went bankrupt. That is true.
we had a lot in Houston, but honestly, through all that, we only lost like 2, and there was still like, I want to say like a good 30. I mean, we had like, I want to say we had like 4 big ones in Houston, but other than that, like some of the small, I mean, I had a small one that like that I went to as an LC, a little bitty shop that I went to when I was a kid, and it survived all the way up until like the mid 2000s. And the only reason, honestly, it went under is because the dude died. R.I.P.
I think the 90s are what's hot right now. I think bringing back the
I would agree
90s
with
is
that.
driving.
It's
driving
nostalgia.
so much of the comic sales. Yeah, because it's all of
Nostalgia.
us reliving our childhood. So of course we want to see those things from our childhood.
It's a curse and a blessing. I mean, it works both ways. Companies know it's working, and they're doing it in movies, they're doing it in comics. I mean, it's not a new thing. It's just working on us because right now it's oriented to our age group, kind of thing.
Does it have a shelf life though? I mean, time's gonna run out. And great job tonight, Carrie, on the 10-1-1. Really fun show. Always a good time on Gary B's channel.
Gary, yeah.
But does it have a shelf life? I feel like, I mean, I think about this a lot, and I don't really have enough facts to really to frame anything the way I'd like to. But like, I think about how much are we propping up.
Were you deleting Comic Journey's comments?
Mm-hmm.
No. Who, me?
Yeah.
No. Why? Is he? I haven't even got to him yet. Why are you asking? Is he saying that I am or something?
I just wondered.
No, why would I delete Comic Journey's comments? It doesn't.
It's a part of it, Tyler. I mean, yeah. I mean, people are doing the same thing today, but that doesn't mean that was a failure. That means that whatever gimmick they ran back then, advertisement and everything, that means that worked. That gimmick worked to get non-comic book people to rush to the stores to, thinking they had $1 million in their hand with that Turok #1. It's kind of the same thing that happened in 2021. I mean, there was a flock of new collectors that were like, "Hey, comics." I'm pretty sure it'll happen again.
And Tyler, no, I have confidence against the Bills, but it's just a matter of time until they get one from us. But I did have confidence going into this game. Whereas I think we can beat the Ravens, but I'm not confident. The Ravens are on fire right now, but I'm excited to see that game Sunday. We get to go first Sunday, so we'll know sooner rather than later. But we could have. I don't want to see the Niners again because the Niners are going to be up for that if we get the Chiefs Niners again after what happened the first time. I think I'd rather see the Lions. But I'd hate to beat the Lions too and just break their heart. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? What up, Bleak? Good to see you, homie. Thanks for coming through. Check out church every Sunday. And football is almost over, so I'm going to be way more plugged in to church on Sundays.
It is funny, though, that the Chiefs do have a kind of a history beating the Bills at this point.
Oh, yeah. They can get us
in the postseason. They can't do it in the regular season.
They get us in the regular season, and I remember Chris being a little happy about beating us this year, and I was like, congratulations on your regular season win there, because we know we're going to see each other again very likely, and that's going to be the game that matters. I think, wasn't it the year that we lost to the Bengals? We beat them during the regular season, I think. Or maybe they beat us twice, but I feel like we got them in the game that didn't matter, and they beat us in the game that did matter.
Correct.
And that was devastating, man. You don't want to win that regular season game. You want to win that next one. And you don't want to blow your load on the first one. And I think we saw the Chiefs do that a lot, where I think
point,
that
though, with the Bills versus the Chiefs in the postseason, does Bills Mafia kick up to Chiefs Kingdom? Do they have to kick up their points? Pay tribute?
I mean, I wish Chris the Comic Vet was here to answer that question.
I wouldn't
Lady
say
F, you gotta keep me on track.
No info there.
I appreciate you, John. There was a lot of strikes. What was it? I badmouthed Ren and Stimpy, and now it was Kid Me badmouthing Ren and Stimpy. Kid Me. I've never seen Ren and Stimpy as a grown man, but when I was a kid, Ren and Stimpy was not my stuff. The humor was over my head.
That's a strike against you, regardless. Kid you, grown up you, like how are you in this community? You just lost like a notch of the membership card that they gave us.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up again. What was the other ones? I can't even remember. There was time I didn't know who. I admitted that I don't really know who Zatanna is.
It might be good though that you avoided Ren and Stimpy. I mean, I think you should stay about 40 yards away from that creator.
I don't
know anything about the creator, but I did love Ren and Stimpy as a kid. But I mean, it was
he got in some trouble for
kids.
pedophilia.
Did he?
Uh-oh.
I didn't see that from the show though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was more into boogers, and I mean, so I think you're still okay to watch the show, and I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night too, about separating the art from the artist. Like,
I try and do that. I try and do that regardless, unless you just really, really know. Because nowadays, I mean, you're fighting fake news. You're fighting stuff that for me, I think there's only like one famous person that I can like really look into their real life, but it ties to the actual art. Other than that, I separate everything. And I like music, wrestlers. I mean, that's that whole Chris Benoit conversation. And I'm not trying to get on a big, wrestling rabbit hole thing, but to this day, I still, I still like watching the rabid Wolverine fighting in the ring. He was still the wrestler that I enjoy, regardless of what happened to him in real life. And like, it's horrible, his outcome in real life. But that's like, you could say the same about a bunch of people, like Phil Hartman, like R. Kelly, like Michael Jackson, and the list will go on and on and on. Because guess what? They're just regular people too, and regular people fuck up all the time. And you give them more money, guess what? Some of these people just go nuts.
Yeah, I know I would. Like, I think the way I think about what I would do if I had a bunch of money, I would go nuts for sure. I think it would warp you in some ways, unavoidably, especially if you got fuck you money. Nah, man. What's up, bro? Good to see you, homie.
What's up?
And Shattered Glass says the big reason why comics sold so well in the 90s is because people were buying tons of copies, expecting them to be worth a lot. High sales, most of the junk. I wonder how much of that is true today, because I'm guilty of it. I talked about it last night. Like, I don't go buy a bunch. I don't go buy a bunch.
You Spawn one as an example again, though. They said that would never be worth money. It's worth.
It is. He's right, and you're right in a way, but there's other like factors you got to throw in, because guess what? The shops that made it through that era, because guess what? All shops went through that same thing. The shops that made it through, they're the ones that converged into like, comic/board games or comic/manga. They were the ones that like thought outside the box to, keep their. It's the same thing with restaurants. Restaurants are known to fail within the first 2 years. So if you have a restaurant that's in your town that survives survived like 20 years or something. There's a reason they survived that 20 years, and it's not just because people kept going there. No, but I believe there's more factors than just. But no, that is a big point. But it's the same thing, like just like you said, Sergum. That's why I brought up now. Like 2021, there was a huge flock of brand new collectors that got into comics. You know, people were at home, you know, and it wasn't just comics. They were getting into like all hobbies that just were away from the internet at the time. You know, everybody was on lockdown.
Is a canceling, deleting?
Nobody's delete. I think CJ's trolling the fuck out of me right now with this shit.
Yeah,
now I got
he likes
I
to
like
be
how
the
y'all.
victim.
I like how. Hey,
now-
John. I
Now we're
like
all
how y'all
talking about his
respond
fucking
to him.
comment. Like what is?
Yeah,
what
y'all not even
comment is
listening to
getting
me.
deleted?
I'm giving you gold. No, I'm playing.
No, I'm multitasking here, but yeah.
Hey, John.
What up? We got C Bizzle in the house. So many Lions fans in this community. So many Ravens fans. So many Chiefs fans. And Rob is the only Niners fan I can think of. Not a lot of Niners fans.
I'm a Texas fan. You don't hear me boohooing because we lost. Oh man, my team didn't make it. Not again.
Well, it's just like Lamar told CJ.
I'm
though.
rooting
It's
for
just the
Kansas
beginning for
Chiefs.
y'all.
I like what's his
There we
name.
go. There we go. No,
I'm going.
that's
Alman,
good.
good
I'm
man.
going for Kansas City. I'm going. I wanted Kansas City to win that night.
There
My
we
brother
go.
was going.
I like
My
what's his
brother was
name.
going for the Bills.
What's his name? What's
Oh.
his name? Gosh.
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I like
Anybody that throws the football.
No, Patrick Mahomes.
Never enough fills, right? Am I right? Never enough fills. Mad Spidey. What
Hello,
up?
Spidey.
What up, Simon? Good to see
Lady,
you.
fantastic, Carly. How are you?
No, the Bills and Vikings aren't the saddest. I mean, the Lions have been
Bears.
the saddest.
Well, I do feel sorry for Bills. I mean, I do feel sorry for Bills. I mean, one time they went for like a.
The Bills are pretty sad.
They went to
Yeah,
4
it's true.
Super Bowl championship in a row.
Yeah.
And
I feel
one
sorry for every team that loses.
Huh?
Oh,
I
Yeah,
feel
but-
sorry for every team that loses because they suck.
I'm glad you're back, Mike.
I've been back, just not on Tuesday night. You know, I've been busy. I got my own thing.
Hey.
Hey,
I'm
you
looking
do
forward
what
to
you
that.
gotta do, buddy.
Mikey.
Yeah, live your life, brother. You're
I'm
always
Yeah,
welcome.
Naman's gonna be there with me.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the discussing Stephen King and the Dark Tower series.
And when is this? Tell us about what is this?
All right, you want me to plug it
Oh.
now? I was gonna do
Yeah,
it when we left.
You can do it again when you leave.
We are
All right, so yeah, we're gonna be doing a Dark Tower read along, like live discussion where you at home can participate. There's still time because this isn't gonna be our first discussion on this book will happen February 3rd on Saturday, and I think we locked down a time. It's 7 p.m. Mountain Time, like 9 p.m. Eastern, but I'm not good at that. Just look for a posting. All right, so this book right here is like 230. It's not that long, and that's the first book. And you could do the audiobook, you can do the novel.
Called The Gunslinger.
The first book is called The Gunslinger, and then the series is the Dark Tower
It's not a
series.
Spawn. It's not a Spawn.
Technically seven books in the series. There's an 8th book that's technically like a 4.5, but in the main series there's only 7 books. So what we'll be doing is we'll be tackling that whole series, all 8 books, and I'm going to do it in a season where we're going to tackle, because this story is like so grandiose. And I think a lot of people know that about the story, but he has connected like most of his known works into this series, like some way, some form, like everything you know about Stephen King makes it into this series. So eventually we're going to do the main series, and eventually we're going to tackle like the Dark Tower, I call them adjacent books. They're not really like a part of the series, because the main series you can read alone, and it's just a cool thing if you just happen to know King works. But this doesn't just tie King's works. This dude tied in like almost every literary master you can think of. So like there's Marvel Comics in here. There's like Warner Brothers icon, and I can't reveal too much because but
Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. There's Tom Sawyer. There's pretty much anybody that you could think that's ever gone on a quest, and that's kind of the key, because this is supposed to be seen as the like ultimate quest. It was Stephen King trying to make his version of like his own Lords of the Rings or his own Star Wars or his own, he was trying to make an epic like quest style story, and that's what this.
He didn't try. He did it.
Oh yeah, he did it. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Sidekick. But basically, in the first book, you're introduced, and the first book is kind of the weakest in the series. I still love it, but it's basically just introducing you to the main character and one of the main bad guys, and that's pretty much it. The series doesn't really get good until the second book, in my opinion.
Dark Tower? What do you mean Dark Tower? What's Dark Tower Emirates?
The Dark Tower.
Dark Tower.
Ain't no dorks in this.
That was the movie, right, with Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba.
It was, and I like the movie. It was okay, but it is not the dark. It's not the Dark Tower. It's not. You can't like it, even if you saw the movie, it's nothing that they showed us in that movie even applies to the books. Like it's just like you could say the Man in Black, but even that version of the Man in Black is not the version of the Man in Black, because that's the character. But and they did some cool things. Like I loved Idris Elba, in that role, and the way they portrayed him as Roland. I'd say they did a good job. But it's more the story part and what they showed you and stuff like that. It was kind of You could even take it like it was like book 9, but there's still like so many mistakes in that movie. Really, what it was, the story behind that movie was it was two people that made 2 movies, and they put it together, and neither one of them knew what the other one was trying to do, and that's the movie we got.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
That actually sounds like a pretty good representation of what happened.
But okay, with that being said, it's actually a decent movie for like 2 people that didn't know. Yeah, I mean, it is. You can watch it, and it is a coherent movie. There's a lot of questions, like what the fuck was that? What's this? Mm-hmm. No, but this is going to be a big thing. Like, and it's like I said, even if you've read the story before, you can participate, because most people that have read this story, it's not a very forgettable story. And everything. It's my favorite story, period. Comics, games, movies, TV. To me, this is the coolest story I've ever heard, period. It's so hard to get people attracted to the story, because you start telling them too much and you give away like spoilers, and it's not just.
It's a little daunting to look at this book and say, I want to read that. Right? I mean, look at the thickness of that book.
And you know what's really crazy about Stephen King's writing is he is someone that in the author community we call a pantser, where he does not outline.
No, he doesn't.
Everything that comes out of his brain is just like he gets an idea like where he wants to start out from. He sits down, he starts writing, and
That's exactly true.
Doesn't know how it's going to end. Doesn't know how it's going to end.
No, he has no clue.
He starts.
One of the things that the lady writes him a letter saying, "Hey, I'm dying. I got cancer or something. I'm dying. I know you're not going to be able to, but can you at least tell me how it's going to end? I swear I won't tell anyone."
He didn't know.
He goes,
so a little back, what they're talking about.
If I knew if he knew how it's gonna end, he would have told her, because she was about to die.
Taylor,
CJ.
Seriously, Taylor.
All right, so
he can't end this story to save his life. Wow. Man.
Oh, he's got some of the best endings
I know,
I've ever.
CJ.
There is one
bursting right now.
His breakout hit, Carrie.
Like, did CJ's comments get deleted like out of his mouth?
He wrote that when he was 19. 19, published at 20.
Well, you know what's really fantastic about Carrie is Carrie was his breakout, and it was one of those ones where like he literally had printed out Carrie and threw it in the trash.
Yeah, his wife saved him.
And Tabitha King was like, no, you've got something here. And his thing was he was afraid he was not writing women and in particular younger women very well. And she's like, no, you got something, and I'll help you with that. And so it was literally one of his first books that he sold. The initial first rights on it, like the hardback and that kind of thing, was not that great, but then it sold like wild cakes, right? So when it came to the paperback rights, that's when he made, I think, his first six-figure deal was the paperback rights of Carrie.
When it started, like even after Tabitha King saved that book, like it went through 17 different editors that denied that they didn't want it, and finally one editor was like, "Bro, this is the craziest story I've ever read," and he was the one that took the chance and got it printed. He's actually a character within Stephen King's universe because he took that chance. But everything that Carrie said is right. Okay, so like the way this
was 19th editor.
Well, listen, still let's be honest. Stephen King is either a hit or miss with a lot of the stuff he does. It's either really, really good or really, really.
He's
here. That's anyone when you're writing as much as Stephen King is.
Yeah, well,
especially as many
I'll tell you this
genres.
much. He definitely can't direct, but he could write. You know, he's just not all
He
his
doesn't
stories.
direct.
What?
Technically, he's only directed the one time, and he admitted, I mean, that was during his like heavy cocaine phase, and he don't even remember directing the movies. So like, it's not. He's not known for.
There are whole books he doesn't even remember writing.
Yeah.
Because that's the tragedy of his creative life, was that during the time period where he was heavily using, there are whole books he doesn't remember writing.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that he did that was really, really good, and the stuff that's like, like come on, you know, like what the hell, you know, like there's a lot of that too. So,
well,
you know,
what's your okay? Let me paint this picture. What's your definition of good? Because there's not a single one of his books that haven't sold more than like 250 million copies a piece.
Even when he didn't even put his own name on them.
Listen, sales doesn't not necessarily mean quality.
Well, that's why I said, what's your definition of good?
$multi-million franchise for a while, I wouldn't call them quality. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, his movies are different. I can't.
Movie has nothing to do with these books.
Yeah, I can't argue there.
The Stand was a great book, like a really great book.
Stand.
I've read The Stand and I really liked it too.
And The Stand's one of my favorites.
I was in love with that. What was that chick's name with the white streak? I was in love with her.
I would put that as one of his top written novels. I really love what he did with that world, that book. He did great. He didn't go for cheap thrills. He didn't go for anything. He went for the full epic type of novel on that one.
You know, Taylor agrees with that statement.
And you know what? Even though I am a little bit of a stan of his process and everything like that.
It seems that way. That's why I had to come on here and like you know. There's a whole worship over here because you know we have to be honest about it with things.
No, TJ, what book you didn't like? Which book you read and didn't like?
What book did not like? There's a lot of
82 novels you can pick from. 82. And 122 short stories. I mean, just pick one.
Was it only 82? It had to be.
Are you including the Robert Bachman
no.
novels in that?
No. But you can pick those too.
No, you know
which
what?
one?
I'll go from stuff that's on the weaker end.
Huh?
You know, I'll tell you stuff that I felt was weak.
Okay, tell us.
As far as stories were concerned. I thought Pet Cemetery was weak.
Okay.
I thought that was a weak, you know, I don't know how it got so much attention. I thought it was a weak.
Yeah, I didn't like Pet Cemetery that much either. Okay.
What else?
I can agree. I'm not a big fan.
We're not going to even talk about Maximum Overdrive.
That was a movie.
What's his movie?
Yeah.
Well, it was a screenplay he wrote, so that's something.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
But I think the point that Mike is trying to make here is that the dude's written so much. Anyone is going to find stuff that they like and that they don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a man
Yeah,
that writes.
The way you guys were making him out is like he had like he couldn't be wrong with his work.
I think he has he has a tried and true method that produces work.
I'm more of a fan than a hater for Stephen King, but I will say that there's a lot of stuff that he written just to get it onto the screen. You could tell when you're reading it, it was written just to get a screenplay. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
And that for me is not a great story. You know what I'm saying? Like writing to become a movie is not necessarily a good book.
I honestly think his movies are not made for movies.
You know, like you take like
he writes books to write books. He doesn't write books to make movies, and that's the difference between him and someone like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, but at one point
I love 11/22/16.
At one point that changed with Stephen King. At one point you could tell in his writing that he was writing to get him over there, like in the late 80s.
He doesn't have to.
Wait. Okay, so I can agree with CJ, and that is something debatable, but he does write in a cinematic way. And I'm not going to say his stuff is just exactly adaptable. I mean, his books are huge, right? If you've read The Stand, you know how big it is.
I don't know if that's necessarily. I don't know if that's necessarily his goal, though.
No. Okay, but if we're talking about his
it was an even better book. Not that many times do you see that happen.
Wait. Say that again.
Like Misery was a great adaptation that they put on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It was even better.
It was a simpler story.
Yeah.
And you're talking about that was like pretty much like a woman in a cabin, like the whole movie. You know, I mean, there's not much to that. No, but okay, so we're talking about his movies, right? That's a whole nother ball game. I mean, dude is not.
They're all connected. You know,
no.
Really, his career,
the one thing I can say towards his movies is he's just not. He's a great storyteller and a great writer, but as far as being a good businessman or making good decisions as far as his movies and stuff, that's been kind of known. And I want to say up until like the 2000s. That's why most of his adaptations before the 2000s, none of them are like the books or like close to the book. I mean, you're talking about The Stand, like the miniseries. I mean, you could say that was close, but not really. You could say was close, but no, even the new movies that we got, they still had to leave stuff out just because they can't really. I mean, it would have had to be like NC-17.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool about Shawshank Redemption is that you can actually visit the place where a lot of that was filmed. It's in Ohio, and it's the old Mansfield Reformatory, and it's not a working reformatory anymore. It's mostly dilapidated, and like you can go there and you can take tours of it and all that. Like at the time it had the tallest cell block in the United States. I believe it's 5 stories. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like his biggest movie is The Shining, and that's the one that's farthest away from the book. Like that's the one movie that he hates the most because it's so far away from the source. But you're talking about it's still like a huge like horror like classic, you know. I mean, most
Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite movies. Stand By Me is one of my favorite movies.
Mine too. Stand By Me. I love The Body. I like the ones that are closer to the source material. You know, we're talking Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, Stand By Me. Like, what was the one on Netflix?
Well, Stand By Me. What did you think of the novel itself?
The Body?
It pretty much it matched up pretty good with the book.
Yeah, and that's
good.
meshed, and that's one of the like the Stephen King stories that's actually true. Like that's based off of his real life. It's one of the only stories that's based off of like him when he was a kid. And he's the writer in that story, and he was Richard Dreyfuss. Like
I
he
thought
was
that
the
was an
one.
excellent story, but I really thought that was meant for the big. Like I think when he was writing that, he was writing that with the intention of having that go onto the screen somehow. That's those are the kind of books that I look at. Like the Stand was a book that he wrote that I feel that he wrote with a true story in his head that could stand alone as a novel. Another what was another one that was actually really good? Lawnmower Man should never went to the screen. It was an excellent novel. Excellent novel. They should never made an adaptation at that time because the special effects just couldn't keep up with what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
First, that one's a short story, and Lawnmower Man, like the movie that we got, it's nothing like the short story. And you're talking about like, I mean, the movie we got, it's a decent bad Stephen King movie. You're talking about the worst would be like Sleepwalkers or
Oh, that was terrible.
or like Children of the Corn, or there's some bad ones. And you're talking about Children of the Corn, not only got like many sequels, but like remakes on top of that, because we just got a new Children of the Corn like 2023, I think. It was like a Shudder exclusive.
It's a scary title. That's
Mhm.
why. It's a scary title. It's memorable.
But look, like Blico say, Stephen King is not responsible for making these movies. I mean,
Well, he is the creator. He does have control, especially at this stage.
Actually,
at
you
this stage,
okay?
the movie makers make
So
at
this
stage
is
of the
like,
game, he has the right to nix anything he wants.
who knows what Dollar Babies is? Anybody know what that means? Dollar Babies. Did you know that you yourself can buy the rights to any Stephen King novel or short story for $1? And how this works is you can buy the right to that movie. You can either do it a TV show or you can do it a movie. You can pick any one of his short stories and any one of his novels, and for a whole year you get the rights to that product. In a year, if you don't do anything with it, it goes back on the table and someone else gets to grab it for $1. That's how so not interested he's in money at this point. You're talking
I have
about
heard
his
it put that way,
Well,
but yeah, I've heard
that's
of
the point
that.
I'm trying to make. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. So he has
No,
more
his
control.
books.
He has more control over what he wants to have done with his with his work.
He does. He has, from that program, you have a year and you can do it a show, movie, it could be a YouTube short. It doesn't matter what you create with it. And they have done like short movies, and we've actually got some real movies, because that's how we got a couple of the Netflix movies with Mike Flanagan. That's kind of got how Mike Flanagan got started in the whole thing. But like technically how it works is you pay $1, they send you the right, you get the rights. Like it's all yours. You can make the movie, use whatever actors, blah blah blah. But within that, at the end of
How
the
much
year,
is the gross after it's produced?
I think you get all the rights if it actually gets. You would have.
I highly doubt that.
This is a guy that he doesn't need the money from.
I understand that, but I highly doubt that. Like he gives you the rights for $1, and then let's say he goes gangbusters and makes blockbuster.
Yeah, Frank Darabont.
If you can find evidence of that, then I am all ears.
No, I don't have evidence. I'm asking this, and that's why I'm bringing up this question.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's a percentage that would go to him, but
it has to be.
Well, that is part of the deal, and that's.
But the whole point of it is like he's looking for good people to make his movies, because it's a known thing that his movies aren't that great. So it came to a certain point where like he wanted like physical fans of his work that were dedicated enough to.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Langoliers was terrible.
Hey, Langoliers is good, and that's actually really close to
bad movies.
Huh?
How many? I'm going to name a good movie, and then you name a bad movie. I'm going to say Stand By Me is a good movie, right?
Thinner
is a bad movie.
Yeah, Thinner, bad movie.
Somebody name another good movie then.
Dolores Claiborne.
Already Misery.
Misery. Okay, Misery. So name another
Sleep.
one that's bad.
Sleepwalkers.
Sleepwalkers is bad.
Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Green Mile was good, right?
Oh, you said Green Mile?
Yeah, good, right?
Green
So
Mile
name a
is
bad one.
good. Come on.
Pet Cemetery.
Okay, I'll grant you that was. I don't like that type of movie. A lot of people actually like those, but
It had Herman Munster in it, so it was that part of it was good. But other than that,
okay, what's a good movie then? You named the bad one.
Well, that says Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
not a good
As a
movie,
good
man.
movie? Yeah, it is. It's a werewolf
No
movie.
way.
That's
No
one of
way.
his better ones.
No, that was one of those.
Okay. Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye.
What about Christine? What about Christine?
Christine was a good movie.
Okay.
I like Christine.
I like Christine. I like
Nobody's mentioned. Okay, what about The Mist? You didn't like The Mist? Like, bro, that's still today. That's like one of the like, I think like most severe like endings in a film or whatever. Frank Darabont's The Mist.
I personally thought Dark Tower was a bad movie. Personally, Dark Tower. Was
Yeah,
bad.
Dark Tower's bad.
Good movie, Carrie.
Carrie, but that's not my genre. So okay, a lot of people think that's a good movie. So
Bad movie, Firestarter remake.
what about Dead Zone? What about Dead Zone? That's a good movie.
That movie.
That's a good movie. That's a good movie.
Wellborn says Cujo.
Cujo was a good movie.
Ugh.
I love Cujo, even though the ending's different.
Here's the thing about Cujo. I can understand why most people like it, but for me, there's just something about it that I feel the same way about Cujo as I feel about Pet Cemetery. I have a hard time watching it.
What about Shawshank Redemption? I think that's one of the classic movies.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That's my favorite.
Cujo was good for the time. You know,
Sometimes they come back.
It doesn't hold up well as far as for
I'm
right
counting,
now, but
I'm counting tons of good movies. I know you named some bad ones. I mean, he have probably equally bad number of movies, but he got tons of good movies out there.
Yeah, well, that's the
I mean,
point.
how many people can name?
Yeah, the first It's one of my favorite.
Under one person's name.
Cat's Eye. I love Cat's Eye. No, okay. So the thing is, all those movies that we pretty much mentioned were like 80s and 90s movies, and there's some others on there. Maximum Overdrive. You mentioned that one.
The majority of it still came out. That's
yeah.
The meat of
but
it.
Ever since they started doing like
the TV shows that have come out recently, like you've got the TV show. Oh golly,
I love Dreamcatcher.
That has Holly. I saw the first episode of the one that has Holly in it.
Mr. Mercedes.
Yes, I only saw the first episode of that one, but that seemed like it could be something good.
The Mr. Mercedes, and that's a whole separate King thing. That's him doing crime novels. But Mr. Mercedes,
but it's still a part of his writing.
Yeah, it is. But the Mr. Mercedes stuff was really good.
From what I understand, Holly is pretty well celebrated amongst.
Yeah, and she's already crossed over to because they did another show called The Outsiders. And The Outsiders, I highly recommend. That's on HBO.
I saw part of that as well. Yes, that had,
The Outsiders was dope.
Yeah,
and Holly's in that as well.
Did you all appreciate the latest It?
I did actually. I enjoyed it, but yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård as Pennywise.
Other than the special effects they used for Pennywise, I don't think it was any much better than the TV series that they had.
You want to know why? You want to know why the two movies were better than the miniseries? And don't get me wrong, I love the miniseries. I love Tim Curry as Pennywise. But you want to know why the movies were better? Is because it was a lot closer to the books. I mean, really, they only left out like 2 or 3 scenes, and the only reason they left out those scenes is because it's a weird like sex scene between the kids. They couldn't really show that, and like. The ending, I'd say, is a little different, but like, and they left out the turtle stuff. But like, other than that, I don't think anybody read. Yeah, I don't think. Well,
do we name The Shining yet?
I don't know. I think it didn't hit right. Not even close to what the book was supposed to be.
And here's the thing about everybody absolutely loves Stanley Kubrick, and he is very hit or miss with me.
I like some of his movies, but I'm not that's why I brought up The Shining, because I do like The Shining as a movie. But is it Stephen King's Shining? No, it's nothing like the book. Like,
That's a Kubrick thing altogether.
I mean, the only thing they got right is the names, the hotel. That's about it. Everything else is different. It's
And
completely.
plus, if you look into some of the behind the scenes stories, Stanley
Oh, yeah.
Kubrick was an utter shit. Okay, like
he's nuts.
he treated Shelley Duvall apparently horribly.
Tokyo Drift.
No, he was absolutely nuts. But I have to say this: majority of his movies were really good, like really nuts. His movies, like
Clockwork Orange. I like that.
I mean, you can name A Clockwork Orange. You can name, Dr. Strangelove, and that kind of thing. But the poor man went out on Eyes Wide Shut. Come on.
Space Odyssey 2001.
I actually like that movie.
He actually didn't finish
for weird reasons.
Eyes Wide Shut. It was finished in the editing table after he died. But
the main work was done by him, though. Come on.
Yeah, it was. He's 80% of the behind the scenes when you watch when you watch the doc. It's all him.
I did not hate Eyes Wide Shut. I did not hate it.
I actually liked it, but I liked it for different reasons. I can say it's like it was pretentious for that time and stuff. And man, it's a boring slog at sometimes. But like, I mean, yeah, I kind of see it as being true and.
But the gold standard for Stanley Kubrick is two films: A Clockwork Orange and Full Metal Jacket.
I mean,
yeah. He's artsy.
Odyssey, Shining, Full Metal Jacket. What else has he got? I don't count his Western shit that he did. Like it's Dr. Strange. Like he had a couple of Westerns in the beginning of his career that, whatever. But
I don't know if I know those.
I mean, if a writer has one good movie made under his belt, that writer is a pretty successful writer, right?
No.
The writer is successful if he or she writes a good story. The thing is because there's so many instances of good writers having good stories that get the TV or movie deal or whatever, kind of like what we've been speaking about here tonight. And the idea gets completely bastardized when it goes to screen. Another example.
There's a lot of one-hit wonders. There's a lot of one-hit wonders that made one great screenplay and that was it, or one great book and done.
Sometimes that's all they want.
Another example of somebody's story that got, in my opinion, completely bastardized when it went to screen was Charlene Harris with the True Blood series. If you're like me and anybody has read all of the True Blood books, like I have,
I've read like 7 of them. Well, I listened to 7 of them while driving.
You've listened to a good deal of them now.
Did
you ever read or watch the True Blood series?
I love True Blood. Is it different? It's that different?
Horrible.
Damn. Because I'm about to read the books. I just bought the first 2 because I've been wanting to read the True Blood.
Yes, you're in for a treat.
I've been wanting. It's been.
Oh shit!
It's very girly, but you love Sweet Paprika, so you'll be fine.
I don't. That doesn't bother me. I literally read Twilight, and this is before the Twilight, the Sparkle, like bullshit. I just read it because it was vampire related. I like vampires, and vampires are. I mean, if you. Their love stories.
Cocktail is a masterpiece to me as well. Elizabeth Shue is an all-time for me. She's on the all-time list. I love Elizabeth Shue.
I love True Blood for the TV series for just a couple different reasons. One is the casting of Eric.
Okay, Skarsgård.
With Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård was perfect.
Jessica is the only reason.
And Jessica.
And the casting.
See, I liked Bill and Suki, and I liked the whole Suki, you know. And I like the behind the scenes because they were really married in real life. I like that, you know.
Did you guys remember that?
When you read the books, tell me if you still like Anna Paquin as Suki.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't have a description for
Spartacus.
I love Spartacus on
Stars.
Wait. He did Spartacus.
Did he do the movie Spartacus?
Yeah, I just went to go take a quick look at his movies to remind myself maybe I'm missing something. First thing, Spartacus.
I'm surprised you read the
Completely
True
forgot
Blood books, Becker.
So I guess
Recommend, yeah, never, nothing like the book. Nothing like the books at all.
Mike, how did you read the True Blood series? But you ain't read a Stephen King. Get the fuck out of here! What the?
People definitely did more good than bad as far as his film.
Read a grown-up book.
Hey, when you get into the True Blood books, they get very grown up, sir. Believe me.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of known. I think that's why HBO went with them. You know.
Well, Alan
Snooki
Ball,
was
when
a
he got
slut in
when he became the showrunner of that series, Alan Ball, Charlene Harris was quick to mention that she did not have very much input when it came to what happened in the actual show. When you get the first season pretty closely fits that first book, but then they take a major detour. And it just messes everything up from there.
It does. They should have followed the books closer. It would have been better.
There's a particular character that stuck around that they should have, despite the popularity of the character, they should have kept them.
We can spoil it. It's been
Yeah, you can spoil.
Well,
I'm
he
not
hasn't
bothered.
read the books though.
I'm not bothered by spoilers.
Okay.
His character
Lafayette
was
should have
awesome.
Lafayette should have died.
He was awesome. Though.
Oh, he's one of my favorite characters.
He was weird. He was a weird ass character. Man.
Yeah, he is on the show.
And then their treatment,
Like, just this whole
of the fairies, was totally ticked me off. The fact that Bubba was not involved in the series at all.
Mike, your favorite character cannot die?
Huh?
You have a problem with your favorite character dying?
No, usually my favorite character does die in most of my stuff. Like my favorite character in One Piece is Bon Clay, and if you know Bon Clay, he is like this. He is like, I don't know. I'm trying to like word it right, but he's queer and he's like super out there and everything, but he don't make it through the whole journey. But the little parts that we got with him on, oh my God, I love that fool. But no, sometimes my favorite character, like I've already told you, Naman, who my favorite character in Dark Tower was, and it's Susanna. And I don't think there's too many people that can say their favorite character is Susanna. And like, and
she's one of my favorite characters.
She's my top. She's my top.
Have you guys ever seen Dr. Sleep by Stephen King?
Yeah. That's the sequel to The Shining.
Is that any good? I never read it, never seen it.
I like both. Okay, so The Shining is a whole nother book. It's actually one of my favorite Stephen King books. Like, but Dr. Sleep is a direct sequel to that book, and the book is really good. And the movie did a really good job with trying to get that original movie back online with where the difference is Danny's a little kid in the first story, and in the second story he's a grown man. Like it's like 30 years, you know. So I mean, they work. They work separately. So, okay, so here's some cool stuff I wanted to mention before we get off the topic, but like some things you could be like hopeful to look forward towards Stephen King adaptations, because everybody's hype on the Duffer Brothers, which they're doing Stranger Things, right? Everybody loves Stranger Things. Well, the next project they're doing directly after this is The Talisman, and they're co-directing it with none other than Steven Spielberg. So, I mean, like if that don't get you hype, okay, so like we're getting a full on like Dark Tower like show, and today it got the green light from Mike Flanagan, and Mike Flanagan has been like the last like 4 or 5 popular like Stephen King adaptations have been him. Like
wait, what does that mean? Stephen King is going to co-direct? I mean,
no, Steven Spielberg.
What does that
Steven
mean?
Spielberg.
What does that mean? Like, is it going to just say in name?
As far as I know it, Steven Spielberg has already wrote the script from the book, The Talisman. The Duffer Brothers are like, they're taking that script and they're going to film, like if you know the story, you know, it basically, it's like 2 halves. Steven Spielberg is going to direct this one half, and the Duffer Brothers are going to direct another half. And if you know the story, it makes sense. But like I can't really. But it's basically 2 worlds, and that's why it's being co-directed. But the fact that for one, Steven Spielberg has had the rights to this property from like I think 1989 or whatever. It was a year after the book dropped. He bought it. Steven Spielberg has wanted to direct 2 movies since he got started, and he did one 2 years ago. That was the and I'm gonna mess up the name. That was his last movie that he did. It was the
because he doesn't like really direct that much anymore. That's why I'm like,
he's still going. He did Ready Player One. He did.
yeah,
2 years ago. He did like the movie. He did.
Years, he does one.
It's like I want to say like every 4 years, something like that. I think he did like. Don't quote me. You'd have to look up his bio, but he did one a couple years ago, and that's the one he really wanted to do. It's called like the Fieldmans or the Flanagans or some shit like that. I always forget the name, but that's one of the big ones he's wanted to direct since he got started.
Fablemans.
Fablemans, that's it. The Fablemans was like his like big movie that he's been waiting. I haven't even seen it, but like I am a Steven Spielberg fan as far as movies goes. But all the ones previous that he's done, they were all hits. He did Ready Player One. You're talking about the achievement that he did. I mean, not even the success from Ready Player. I'm not even talking about that. We're talking about the achievement of how he got all these different sponsors and copyright, like to have all that in one movie, and he got all that for free, bro. That's an astounding feat in itself. You're talking about in Ready Player One, the movie by itself had more than 1,000 copyrighted like material from big companies that don't really share their LPs, like Nintendo.
I wanted more too, because in order to do the book, they needed more.
We're still getting
that's a
ready
name recognition thing. That's wanting to be attached to something done by
Spielberg goes a long way, man. He opens his mouth to the right people. They'll agree to it. They know that when he's attached to something, you know.
Well, the next 2 Spielberg movies, the next 2 Spielberg movies that I know we're getting is Ready Player 2, and we're getting the Talisman. Those are his next big 2 movies. And the Duffer Brothers, that the only reason we haven't got the Talisman already is because they're finishing Stranger Things season 5, and then directly after that they're heading to the Talisman.
He couldn't have done a freaking Indiana Jones. He couldn't have done an Indiana Jones. He's got to do freaking Ready Player.
I don't think he wanted to do a Ready Player. I don't think he directed the last one.
Everybody wanted him to do it except for him. We wanted him to do it. We needed a Steven Spielberg, George Lucas.
Lucas wanted him to do it. I think Spielberg just wanted to do the first one.
Legion's talking about how Ready Player One was really fun, and for me, Ready Player One is an example of something that comic book readers have to accept and understand, is that when you love the product as the book, you have to let that go when it becomes a movie. And Ready Player One is my example of that, is that I was so disappointed with that movie when I went to see it. I went to the theaters to see it, and I was incredibly disappointed with this movie because I wanted the book.
What 2 scenes? Because they only changed the 2 major scenes.
The way they changed the beginning of the movie ruined it. The way they changed.
You wanted the schools and you wanted all that.
I wanted the school. I wanted him being a scrub in this world.
I did too. Okay, I can admit that. I didn't like that they
grind. I wanted people to see how school works. I wanted to see the basement. There's all kinds of things in the book that I wanted to see that I did not get. And so for that reason,
for me, I haven't seen the movie yet.
He's talking about like the first chapter of the book.
No, it's not just the first chapter though. It's the whole movie is different.
No. I'm just telling CJ what you were talking about the basement.
And so, because I went into the movie theater expecting to see the book that I loved, I could not enjoy what really is a fun, good movie. But I couldn't enjoy it because it's not what I wanted. And as comic book readers who really enjoy the books, we've got to let go of the books when it comes to the movies. We just have to.
Well, there's a fine line though that sometimes people cross.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far because when you because I think that's a big problem that we're facing now in the MCU is when you step too far away from the popular known thing, you're on unknown territory. I mean, that's like what they're doing with Miss Marvel. That's like what they're doing with Echo. That's like and I'm not saying, but when you're playing with like Batman, for instance, and you take Batman's super popular, right? But like, what if one day I just, brought you Batman, but it wasn't Batman. It was like Johnny Bravo. And I'm telling you, it's Batman. Like, I mean, it doesn't work the same. Like when you go to
what up, Fable?
Kind of an example of that is that Gotham Knights TV show.
Oh,
Where like you had actual characters that were from within the DC universe, Dula Dent, Carrie Kelly, and so forth. Then you have random non-existent Bruce Wayne's son. And it's just like, if you guys didn't have the rights to use Damian, who is an actual Bruce Wayne's son, why do this? Like,
well, look,
they
took their stab. It sucked. It happened. Gotham went really left on a lot of the ideas of the original material.
Yeah,
but it was
still
very watchable for multiple seasons. It was really watchable. It was an interesting watch.
But they also didn't stray too far.
The whole concept of Barry Coe not being able to actually say that he's playing the Joker in Gotham.
Yeah, like why even touch base with that character? Like my grand point is The Shining.
And he was absolutely brilliant from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, I love Jerome.
The Joker.
Oh, Jerome's that kid's. I mean, he was in Shameless. I mean, he's a great actor.
I think he got wonky in the later seasons, but for a good, solid portion of that show, they made it interesting to watch. A lot of the material had nothing to do with the source material, and it was really like pulled far apart from the original characters themselves. But it was interesting. They made it actually work, and they made it an interesting watch. It was a good watch.
Like if you're gonna pull yourself away from the source material that far, you better make it good. That's the point we're making here. I think if you're gonna do it, you better know that you have something solid, or else we will tear it apart.
Here's the problem is a lot of these writers that are working for the studios and for these movies, they don't know the material. They might read some.
I agree to some point.
What if they admit to it, saying that, hey, this is Elseworld stuff? What if they say, come on?
But even listen, to write a successful Elseworld stuff, you have to be really familiar with the original source material. See, because it's not just writing something that's wonky. I could write a wonky fucking story about anything. But if I'm writing about an existing character, I need to know what that original character was all about.
Because you have to give off a feel of that character for it to be recognizable, not only to the general public, but people that do really celebrate the character.
So what they're doing is they're reading the cliff notes on these characters. They're going to the Wikipedias and reading whatever they could read from there. And they're like, okay, I know. Now I'm an expert. I know how I'm going to write this character. And that's not how it doesn't always translate well.
So if Elseworld comic book was written by a person who always write about Batman, then you probably will be okay with that particular Elseworld story.
If a story was written by a guy that writes Batman, and listen, there's guys that write Batman right now that suck at writing Batman
stories.
Yeah,
who sucks at writing Batman right now?
No, I mean, let's say this author writes comic book about Batman all this time, and you like that particular author, and he writes Elseworld story about Batman. You would automatically like that story?
It depends on the story.
Yeah, and it depends how well the writer writes. Like I said,
you stand a better chance of if it's an author that is tried and true, and you've liked their stuff previously. I mean, think about it. Like you like Stephen King, right? And if Stephen King comes out with a new book, as long as it doesn't sound like utter shit, you're like, man, I want to buy that book.
Right.
It's like me.
Actually, at this point, I don't care. I don't even look at the description.
You guys should just said about Ready Player One. I have no idea about Ready Player One, what that's all about or anything. It's something video game related. I haven't watched the movie. I haven't read the material. Nothing. So I'm going to go to Wikipedia and I say, you know what, studio? I'm going to write a sequel. That's my qualifications. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what a lot of writers do. They basically have no idea about the source material, and they're all of a sudden qualified to write sequels or to write something on the source. And that's why it never connects. Listen, everybody was ranting and raving and crying about seeing Wolverine in his Wolverine suit. Well, you know what, world? Here you go. banana Wolverine. That's what you're gonna get in Deadpool. You're gonna get a banana suit Wolverine. Let's see how well that translates.
It looks pretty good in the shots to me.
I don't think it looks. It looks
that
like
looks
a
pretty
fucking walking
good. Yeah, I
banana,
gotta
dude.
say.
He walks like a walking banana.
Okay, so
it looks like Wolverine.
They should at least pick the brown suit.
So here's another
Yellow
takeaway,
suit.
and this can go back to Ready Player One, but there's also a feat for taking a book, and just to like let you know, this is a 240 page book. It's small, right? How long
One
does
of the
that take to
shorter
read?
ones.
It's like 7 hours. It's 7 hours if you get the audiobook, right? Ready Player One was 32 hours. But they took that 32 hours and they shrunk it down into a 2-hour movie. Like, so when you do that, you yourself at home should be like, what would I think they're going to cut from the, I mean, they're going to have to do cuts and stuff like that. Like, it's funny when you first started talking about Ready Player One,
The key is doing the cuts, but keeping the overall
still
feel.
keeping the plot, still keeping the characters, still keeping the motif, the theme.
As someone who's cut down many of clips to get to the 1 minute 30 or the minute time frame that you need to get for these reels and shorts, I have just been bleeding, just cutting things out of these things that I just really wanted to find a way to keep in, but I couldn't keep in. So yeah, that's a good point. I get that.
And that's like movies. I mean, and it's the same thing with comics because yes, a single issue, it feels small and everything. It only takes like 10 minutes to read it, but none of these story arcs are one issue. They're all like, 6, 12. I mean, some of these storylines that we've got in the MCU specifically has been storylines that were like 32 like single issue, Civil War was this massive event that took place, and it wasn't even just a single series. It was tie-ins, and and people were like, yeah, but it wasn't like the comics. Well,
let's examine. The central plot is there. The central plot is there.
Well, here's the thing: when you take a certain book, a certain comic, or a certain storyline, you have to sit there and evaluate before you even start. Is this meant to be a single movie, or is it meant to be a movie that's broken up into multiple parts? Is it meant to be on the TV for a series? Because you just can't put that story out in the movies and really portray it the right way. Some things, there's nothing wrong with having a good TV series that lasts for 2 or 3 seasons just to finish and finalize the story. It doesn't have to be a series that you're projecting to have for 10 seasons. It could be a season.
They always want to make it a cash cow, right? They always
because it's cash. Cash is king. I mean, that's you can't forget about the main goal, and that's always going to be the first goal. So you have to even though it's a bad thing, it still has to be there, and that has to be priority within whatever creative product you're trying to do as far as Hollywood's concerned.
Civil War is still mine now. I know it's not
Oh, I
everyone's.
love Civil War. I love Civil War. And I think they did it. I think they did a great job. But we're talking about that's why showrunners are important. That's why the script writers are important, because they went through, and you could tell the love. I mean, you can tell when these people actually knew the source material, knew what was important. I mean, they did Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet, and everybody loved it, right? But it still wasn't the source material. Get out of here. All right, but anyways, okay. But it still wasn't the source material. But they did it in a way that it still was if a new reader was to go pick up the Infinity Gauntlet, yes, it's changed and it's different, but it still has the main plot thread of the point and purpose of what that story arc was about.
Mm-hmm.
Winter
Soldier core concept is there.
That's an interesting question, DVH. There, it was which I think the answer is obvious, but which Marvel character had the best library
character development?
Who had the best library of movies? I think it's clearly Captain America, right?
No, it's
not Captain American. I think it's Captain.
You talk about just the title movies or the character throughout all the
just
movies?
Overall. So Captain America's movies, Thor's movies.
Well, if you took a look at the journey from beginning to end for one single character from the beginning of the MCU till now, Iron Man has had that epic journey. If you think about from where he began and where he finished,
only Iron Man 1 through 3 counts, though. We're talking about their
Well,
stuff.
that's why I just asked you: is it only under title or throughout the cinematic?
Only under
universe?
title. The rule
Because
is
if you're
under
going
title.
throughout the cinematic universe, yes, Iron Man would be up there.
Yeah,
I
think
would
that's
have to
a good
agree.
because he's been
Yeah.
featured.
But he doesn't have the best movies. No.
I would
Because
say
that
Spider-Man.
the development of that character arc
Which
for Iron Man takes him from, you know,
I think Cap's got the best.
Well, Cap's only
I
had
think
2
Cap's
movies.
clearly
Actually,
his movies were the best.
can you really
Or
consider Civil War?
Guardians,
The thing
like
is,
1, 2,
Civil
and
War
3.
wasn't Civil
Still
War
Cap.
wasn't really a Captain America movie.
But it was, though.
It
But
was.
But it kind
And
of
he was the main focus of the movie. Get out of here.
It was his,
Mhm.
but say what you want. It was Captain America Civil War. It was a Captain
Yeah, it
America
was.
movie, bro.
It was.
It's that's his movie.
and his storyline and his arc in that movie was one of the major focal points.
I thought 2 was definitely the best one out of those 3. Definitely 2 was the best one for me personally, as far as how it was.
Thor.
The
Just
story.
like Mark
They fucked
Thor's
Thor.
got the best
No.
movies. They outsold everybody. Come on now.
You know,
don't
honestly,
play
for me,
yourself.
I know I'm going to trigger Mark, but honestly, if Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't so terrible, he wouldn't beat out Captain America, but he'd have a shot of being up there. But with
You gotta go
with
back
that
to
current movie,
Ragnarok.
Thor: Love and Thunder should have gutted everyone with everything that
movie was
happens
so bad.
involving Jane Foster. And I tried to
killed it.
watch it,
Yeah,
and I could not get through it.
That should have been a sad movie. It should have been a sad, dramatic movie, and they made it like a big, colossal joke. Those freaking
You
woman
can't
died
have
from
Thor
cancer.
acting like it. You can't have Thor acting like a douchebag when you got
Well,
kids.
Thor is an internal struggle at that point with her dying from cancer, him not being worthy. There's all kinds of shit going on. Like
Should have gutted everyone. We should have
The
all
God-
been crying.
the God Butcher should have been. We should have seen more of him. Like
Mm-hmm.
what a waste. They bring such a great actor, and they don't even use him the right way.
Like when I saw the announcements come out about Natalie Portman coming back and being Jane Foster and being the Jane Foster Thor. When I saw the announcements, I was so excited. I was like, I'm
Yeah, me
here.
too.
This is going to gut me. This is going to make me so unhappy, but I'm here for it. And then
Yeah,
I was excited because they actually picked a storyline from recent Marvel comics. Like,
Mhm.
whoa, they're picking from the 2000s library. Okay, that's cool. They're gonna do gore. Christian Bale's gonna be gore. Okay, that sounds cool. What? Natalie Portman's gonna reprise her role. Oh, what? And Taika Waititi? And like, bro, and you're talking about that's the worst thing for me is one of my favorite directors. His name is associated with that movie. He directed that movie. Like, oh god, like.
And the thing is, the old that you said about Ragnarok, how great it was. They completely destroyed the Planet Hulk storyline with that.
They're still doing Planet Hulk. They just announced. I think. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't even know anymore about this, though.
But I think they announced 5 days ago that it is greenlit. That we are getting a Planet Hulk.
You just
What
get happy
isn't
with a
greenlit
fucked up
with Marvel,
virgin
though?
in Ragnarok. You know, like, come on, man. Like, seriously.
Would you consider Miles Morales a recent Marvel story, Mark? How recent is considered to be recent? I wonder.
I'd say yeah.
How far
Miles
back do you have to go
I
back?
would agree. Yeah.
At least they're picking from the 2000s.
The only thing that I liked about that Ragnarok movie is the one image of Hulk walking out of that tunnel, the way he looked, and that was it. The rest of it, they screwed that movie up. Thor's not supposed to be funny. Thor's a freaking barbarian Viking god of thunder. He's supposed to be like this like Heiko, what's the best word? He's not supposed to be.
I thought we were actually going to get Planet Hulk. Like, even from the previews, I thought that's what they were going to do with Planet Scar. And, like, I mean, they took elements from it, but, like, and I'll admit, I like Thor Ragnarok. It wasn't as bad.
Number 2.
What they saw
Dark
was-
Worlds was the best movie they made for Thor, as far as it being true to the character, to the source material.
What they saw was Hemsworth's ability to pull off a punchline. and they ran with it.
It was more Taiki or Watiti.
Well,
Right?
he ended up being the punchline of that movie.
I don't
He
even
definitely
know.
did.
I liked Ragnarok, but people like Mark who say the seeds of why Love and Thunder is trash were planted in Ragnarok. Obviously, you can't deny that.
But you know why they went off the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was for me personally. That was right time, right place. It was done really well, and it worked really, really well for that cast of characters. However, they're like, holy crap, we just made money out of a movie we didn't spend a lot of money on with this concept. We're gonna take it and we're gonna put it on our mainstream characters. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. They should have just stuck with Guardians of that style.
It was. I mean, I'll admit that Guardians had a big play with it, and they should have just left Guardians as the comedic side of the MCU. But it wasn't just that. Remember,
Or
they
go
were
for
also
something else that's comedic.
well, they were also rising off the boat of Deadpool on the Fox universe because he was doing well, and like it wasn't just him. I mean, there was a culmination of but no, on the MCU side of it, I'll admit it was Guardians that started that whole and I think whoever was at the top of the MCU was like, you know what, they want the comedy, and next you got Ragnarok.
You know why that comedic type of action movie worked for the Guardians? Because nobody gives a shit about a little raccoon man and a little wooden man and a little freaking star blaster man and the Drax and all these characters that they put together in there. Sure, they had their core audience, but general public did not give a shit with those characters. So you take those
because they
characters
didn't recognize them.
and you make them what you want to make them, and it worked out really, really
No,
well.
that was the genius that Gunn did. I mean, he took a a comic that was not popular and made it super popular because I don't care. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying Guardians didn't have fans because evidently they were popping out comic books, but it wasn't one of the most popular titles that they could have chose from to make a movie from. I mean, that's kind of what Gunn does now. He's been doing it ever since he started with Guardians, and even before then he did Super, and he was kind of focused on
he did the same
low
thing with
level.
Peacemaker, great stuff.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, I loved what he did with that.
Oh, so much fun. I love that.
Again, he took shitty characters that nobody really gives a shit about.
And Harley Quinn.
All right, you got Harley Quinn, but really, Harley Quinn, up until the first Suicide Squad movie came out there, did she really go freaking nuclear? No.
It depends on who
you after that.
Jim Lee, I think it was even before that. Jim Lee, I think it was said that yes, DC has its Trinity, but the fourth pillar of the DC universe is Harley Quinn.
He could say whatever he wants, but she didn't get nuclear until a decade ago. Let's be realistic about it.
Okay, if you want to be overly realistic about it, and
Deadpool was an okay character in the 90s. He was okay.
It's the same with both characters. As soon as their live action appearances were similar to their comic book character, and they were successful, that's where they propelled. That's when they went bazonkas. And it wouldn't have been popular if it wasn't for Margot Robbie and her portrayal as Harley Quinn.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is really probably, in my opinion, going to be considered, no matter what, the gold standard.
Yeah.
And
let's see what Gaga does with her, because I think she's crazy enough to pull it off.
I think that it's going to become like what we've had with the Joker over the years, where different people are playing different versions of the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Like one person is playing a psychotic Joker, one person is playing a mob boss
the
Joker.
Comedic, yeah.
And I think that there's going to be, especially since she's made the statement that she doesn't foresee playing Harley Quinn again. Obviously, with how popular Harley Quinn is, and she'll probably end up in the DCU, and is going to be somebody else playing her. But it's going to be a different version, because I think it's going to be like the Joker, where you're getting different versions.
Joaquin Phoenix obviously is doing a way different Joker than anything else we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I feel
not so necessarily.
well, I mean, the
Live action,
story.
yes. Live action, yes.
Yeah.
But comic wise, no.
No, we're not.
Well, he is definitely borrowed from the comics, and you definitely can
Yeah,
see
I'm
that.
talking
but-
about on the screen, as far as what's portrayed to the masses in the screen on the screen.
Yeah.
I feel that they're going to do the same exact thing, the same theme and mindset with what Gaga is going to do with Harley Quinn.
Gaga is going to be interesting. I am a Lady Gaga fan.
Me too.
I not only enjoy her music and her art, but I also enjoy her acting.
Me too.
Her version of A Star Is Born will gut you. If you've never seen it, bring tissues, because I do not care how hardened you are, and you watch her in that last scene, especially when she's singing, she's amazing.
She killed it on
Shout out.
Horror
I
Story.
really believe that movie is going to be. This is supposed to come out this year, right? Joker 2.
I believe so.
It is.
I believe that's going to be the best adaptation movie of the year for.
Well, we're only getting two. We're only getting Joker from DC.
I'm including TV shows, cartoons, the whole nine.
Okay. What's up, J2?
I believe that's going to be the
I
best.
love. I think that the
Shout
Harley
out to the
Quinn
low grades.
the Harley Quinn cartoon is an excellent adaptation of
Oh,
the
yeah, I love it.
spirit
Top
of
notch.
Harley Quinn.
The only thing I don't like about that is, I'll tell you something. It's fine. It's fun for me to watch and stuff like that. You're not going to get kids watching that. And
Oh, no.
It's not made for kids. It's rated R, fool.
Come on, man. Harley Quinn is not made for
I
kids.
understand that, but you know, part of the comic's supposed to get the next generations involved somehow, and they don't
Yeah,
have
but
a child-proof type of Harley Quinn version yet.
Well, first off, that ain't gonna stop kids. Cause I don't know about you, but I was one of those kids who was watching like Nightmare Before Elm Street and Aliens and Predator and RoboCop. And guess what? Even though they were rated R projects, they were still modeled to me, because I remember having toys from Aliens, RoboCop, and
Others was my most rented movie, I swear. As a kid.
like,
I was watching that stuff too, but that has a lot to do with my parents not knowing English that well and not paying attention to what I'm watching. So that had to do with a lot. But on TV, what you were watching at that time period was Super Friends, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, stuff like that. You were watching.
Batman the animated series.
they still have that for kids. We're just not watching it. They had they did have the DC Supergirl show, and that featured like Harley Quinn, that featured Bumblebee, that featured Wonder Woman, and that went on for like I don't know how many seasons. I mean, I do have a toy from it somewhere, like right here.
My kids
Like,
got hold of
okay,
a well when they were 11.
they did recently they did two different Batman, like very kiddie shows. They did like a kind of a version of Cars, like where it was Batman and talking cars.
Batmobiles or whatever. The wheels.
They still making little kiddie stuff.
My friend,
Yeah.
my kids got hold of Battle Royale whole series when they were 11.
What,
Battle Royale.
what they did with Super Mario Bros.
Battle
last year
Royale.
with the cartoon was really kid. Like for me personally, I like that. A very kid friendly type of movie that you could take your kids to, and then the adults could actually be like, "Hey, this isn't that shitty. I don't have to fall asleep during this movie." You know what I'm saying? They need to make more projects like that for kids to be able to watch, or TV shows. Like you're not going to get that on HBO Max. You got to get stuff that's going to go on network TV for kids to be.
Yeah,
able
but
to,
it's not okay. First off, it's not like Harley Quinn's just featured in a couple of things. I mean, she's featured in almost every animated thing that's like Batman related, and we're not just talking about the Harley Quinn shows. I don't know how many of the DC
geared
animated
more
movies she's
adult.
featured.
That's the thing. She's always been geared more adult.
Well, because let's
After the
think of-
adventure years.
we don't have to get into the whole history about Harley Quinn, but the character is not something you probably want to talk about with your kids all that much.
Yeah, Joker's
And the
girlfriend.
Bug Bunny was adult cartoons.
In the
It
Batman
depends
the
on what
animated
version
series where she started was a like gritty, like yes, we watched it as kids, but it was still like modeled where adults could
And her-
watch it too.
In her first episode, and I'm pretty sure this is her first episode was Joker's Favor, and she wheels a big cake
Yeah, the
into
birthday cake.
a big appreciation cake in to kill Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Like she starts out, she is a murderous henchman of the Joker. I mean, I watched her as a kid on Batman the Animated Series, but I can definitely understand why parents would be a little bit
Yeah,
apprehensive
but it's not exactly the
in
same.
today's world.
That's not exactly the same version that you're getting in the HBO Max series.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
That's
there's
made
a
for adults.
there's like a huge gap between the two.
But again, that's rated R. You know, I mean, it does have a rating. I mean, the TVMA.
Yeah,
You know, I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying. They should keep making that stuff, but they should also make like a little more dumbed down kid versions for the kids. They should
What
keep doing.
CJ is trying to say is we need more Harley Quinn.
Well,
you know,
make
there's
more.
like 7 different
I got no
Harley Quinn
problem with Harley
projects
Quinn.
coming up. This, you know, we got like,
Yeah.
they're doing the whole like Sakai like DC animated thing, and guess who's a major character in that? Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
Listen, I don't got a big problem with them making like multiple projects with the same character throughout the year. As long as there's a reason for that.
It sells.
As long as there's a reason, and as long as there's a certain target audience that they're going after. If they keep putting out the same stuff over and over again, guess what? The core audience can get tired of it. They need to have different variations of the same. If they're going
You say that, but they've been selling Superman comics for 80-some years now. Like, I mean,
But
look at all the different
you also-
variations of Superman, though.
You
Superman's
say that, but
got a
you
lot
also
of
have the
different
people. You have the people that are like, "Oh, another Superman. Oh, another Batman." Whenever something gets made, so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's going through the same fatigue that Superman is going right now.
Right, the murderous coyote.
They're running out of they're running out of stories with him. Batman, it goes through
That's what I say, Mark.
ups and downs.
All right,
What's up,
CJ, you got to watch more cartoons because that exists.
It
I just
does, all
wanna
right.
see it
Tell me where
loud.
it exists so I could go see it.
Yeah,
I go-
I think it's I can't remember what it's called. It's Harley Quinn and
I'll
Poison
sit down and
Ivy
watch it
and
with my kid.
Catwoman, and they have a little cartoon, and they're very
That's a
geared
movie,
for
though.
young
That-
people. It's
No,
not
that's-
geared for a sexually charged adult.
That's a one shot movie though.
It's a TV show, and
No, a
they've
TV
been
show.
doing it your whole life.
Oh, 'cause I
Have you
saw
not
one
every
time-
iteration of your life that you've wanted to watch a superhero show or movie, has it not existed? When you were a kid, cartoons. When you're a teenager, the fucking live show. When you're an adult, the movies. They fucking do it. They've done it our whole lives. They're gonna do it their whole lives, and the next generations and the next generations.
No, there was. I
What
just
up,
feel like there was a
bro?
lot more kid friendly stuff back in the days for them to get more involved in it.
That's fair. There's a lot now.
You know, I just
Yeah,
want. I just
really,
want to
there's
see
even more now.
generations.
Yeah,
coming
there's
up
more now.
actually watching this stuff.
But you know what the beauty is about all that stuff that's already happened? It already still exists.
Yeah,
And it's still
some of it-
there.
and some of it doesn't date very well. You know, as far as the quality of it. So yeah.
No, that
You
is
literally
true.
What days that exists now?
You ever try to sit and watch
Goodbye.
Super Friends these
Later,
days?
Bleak. Thanks for jumping on, homie.
Hey, love you guys.
Yeah, I'm about to bounce too. I'm about to
Yeah,
bounce too.
we're way past my bedtime, so let's go ahead and do that. There's Bleaker's link in there. Thanks for jumping on, Bleak, dropping a little bit of knowledge
Right,
on my
watch more
guys,
cartoons.
CJ. Yeah, definitely. Evil. I know we talked about your topic for a long
Yeah,
time.
see
You never did
that's
tell us
why
when that was.
that's why I didn't want to even bring it up. You see what it
I didn't
started?
know it was going to take over like that.
Damn, I
But
tried to
hey,
warn you.
People were plugged in and engaged, so I ain't mad about it, man. If people are
There's a lot of
interested,
people
let's
excited
do
for
it.
this. I mean,
Yeah.
so what it is, we're doing a live discussion reading where you at home read or listen to the audiobook. In 2 weeks on February the 3rd, me and a panel of people, including that dude right there, Naman, he's going to be one of the people on the panel. But we're going to be discussing.
Is he going to be drinking during the show?
I don't drink, but sure, I'll be
No,
smoking.
he's going to be drinking during the show. Well,
Yeah, he will.
phenomenal. Well, okay.
And it's later in the evening. Let me finish plugging this because this is a long plug. Hey, Katie. All right, so we'll be doing a live discussion. We'll be talking to the chat, talking to the panel, just talking about the book, taking predictions and stuff, because we have a lot of new readers that have never read this story. There's a lot of us that have read this story. We know, like, yeah, I mean, but there's still a lot. That's the fun of the series. There's so much to talk about. There's still mysteries that have not been solved. Like, I mean, but this is basically the quest of all quests is what this is. But I mean, if you have never read this book or a Stephen King book, hey, now's the time. It's a little thin book. It's 200 pages. The audiobook's like 6 hours. You still have 2 weeks before we do this. So, I mean, if you want to participate, you know, it's gonna be a fun time. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I think South Brad's going to be there, but he may not be prepared the way that we had hoped that he would be. Do you have that scheduled? When is that going to be? Or
That'll be February 3rd, Saturday. It'll be 7 o'clock Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern, I think 8 p.m. Central. I don't know. You know, check out my IG and my YouTube.
Well, plug in, y'all. Thanks for jumping on, Evil Mike. It was good to have you back on FOC and Chill. Always a good time. Naaman, what's going on with you, my brother? A comic book worm on YouTube. What's going on,
We're going
brother?
to be on February 3rd. We're going to be reading Stephen King.
Yes.
More Stephen King. We haven't had enough Stephen King.
Out of all the dollar, he picks out the stand out of all of them.
It's nice.
Besides the Stephen King.
Hey,
talk,
guys,
what else?
I do want to, please, I have this, what I call it, CBC, #CBC noob. I'm promoting that. Please, I have a questions on there. It's a tag video. Anybody that's in here, I consider you guys tagged. Please make that happen so that whenever a new person comes on to comic book community, they could create that tag video and promote themselves and let them be known to the community. So even though we're not the noobs, since we haven't created any noob tag videos, I recommend or recommend that you make a tag video so that the newbie, all the noobs feel they are included within this community. So,
well, I'm down for that. I'm
Yeah,
all about growing this community, bringing people into this community, welcoming people into this community, and not being dicks to them. I'm all for that. So that is great stuff.
So
Go
it's
ahead.
a good way to introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself, and also allow other noobs to introduce themselves. And if this becomes a tradition within our community, then I think it's easier for other new guys to enter the community and feel part of the community immediately. So that's my theory. I don't know if it's going to work.
Biggie, and don't let Biggie fool you. He's one of the OGs in this game. Wellbore would like to know: will there be hazing?
I'm gonna say yes.
Only for Wellbore. Only for Wellbore.
Only for Wellbore. All right, good deal. Carrie, it is
Get your
good.
paddles ready.
Right.
Good to have you back on FOC and Chill, Carrie. Great job tonight on the 1011 with Gary B. Check that out, guys, if you haven't checked that out. What's going on with you besides that?
Well, you know, my usual. We've got comic book reviews. We've got different pop culture commentary, and I recently launched some AuthorTube content.
AuthorTube. Nice. Very cool. Well, I appreciate you. The Stephen King talk was lit. We had people interested in that for the whole hour and a half. So I appreciate that. Thanks for jumping on and adding to that discussion.
Well, you guys were talking Stephen King. I had to get on. I can definitely recommend. There's tons of content out there, especially on YouTube, of different guest appearances he's made doing lectures on college campuses. And it's very interesting to go watch those. There's one that I in particular love that is hosted. He's being interviewed, but it is hosted by George R.R. Martin.
Okay. That's what's up. That's my
and
guy.
And the important question he asks Stephen King is, how do you write books so fucking fast?
Please figure it out, brother. Let's get the real ending to all of that jazz. Well, thank you, Carrie, for jumping on, man. I really appreciate you entertaining the people tonight. Comic Journey, what's up to you? Always appreciate you jumping on as well. You always keep it interesting. Are we going to see the Insomniacs anytime soon?
Well, let me start off by telling you this. As the security guard for the gates here at the comic community, I
at the gates,
not necessarily sure I'm ready and willing to welcome any noobs to the community. We have to first see what they're all about before we allow them to come through our gates.
He doesn't speak for any of us. Just if there are.
No, I speak.
We're gonna have to storm the gates, guys. Come on.
No, my gates are strong.
We've done it before.
The only requirement is that you step on CJ. Just...
This is what I get. This is
We gotta break through those gates and go.
This is
Oh,
what
yeah.
I get for me being your gatekeeper. All right, listen. Not all jobs are. It's a thankless job. Okay, so we're going to see where that happens. But I'll make sure that I keep this community secured, and we make sure these gates keep closed to any noobs that might infiltrate.
Comic book is open border community.
No borders. I'm going to build more walls.
Oh God,
we
got jetpacks,
more
man.
walls, big walls made out of rocks. We're going to do it. We're going to do it the right way. As far as the Insomniac is concerned, hey, what I tell you last time? I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen, but if it does, it will. So go to my channel, go press that ding, ding, ding thing, and maybe it'll ding. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But either way, that's the only way you're going to find out if I'm going to actually run a show.
There you go, guys. Get plugged in. Hit that notification bell for your opportunity to plug in on maybe the next episode of Insomniacs. I hope we get another one. I think it fills an important space in this community. There's a lot of people who apparently don't sleep and they need something to do all night. So thank you for jumping on, CJ. I always appreciate it, man. That is all.
No, you don't. You don't appreciate it. You delete my comments.
You know what I'm
What?
saying?
Okay, can we talk about that? Were you trolling me or what was that? What comments were getting deleted?
Who's deleting my comments?
What comment were you?
Comments?
What was
It
the
was
comment?
him. He was
Somebody
writing the
was
stuff, and then he'd go right back and delete it.
Somebody's deleting my comments.
He's the only one that can delete it.
You don't like pro bill talk. You don't like anti Liefeld talk.
Pro
You don't
bill
like any of
talk.
that.
What is that? What it was? And so you
Yep,
must have been. You
that's
must
what
have
it
been
was.
saying foul shit that YouTube was taking out because it definitely wasn't. me.
Somebody's deleting my comments.
Jerry,
Oh
Jerry,
my
good to meet you, by the way. Online.
Always the victim.
You're freaking gatekeeping my comments. Oh, you'll see
Yes,
what's gonna
we. Oh
We
my
need to
God.
gatekeep the
Well,
gatekeepers.
that is all we got for this week's episode of FOC and Chill. Tune in next week where we will be back. What we talk about is always determined by you guys and what you guys want to talk about. And I'm always interested to see what that is. This week it was Stephen King. So who knew
Fuck
that was
FOC.
coming, guys? We know it's not going to be FOC. That's for sure. Whatever it is going to be, it's not going to be FOC. So
That's what it was.
appreciate
What?
everybody for jumping on and all of the great people in the chat, man. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. Until next time, peace, comic book fam.